Previously in Greet, the Sect leader, the protagonist deals with Tong and sends a subordinate on a mission. The mate's plan then begins and bandits arrive. Just as things turn tense, another group of bandits appears. Now to this week's chapter. Yuer peeked through the carriage curtains. Sweat dripped down her forehead as she watched the fighting outside. Nothing was going the way it was supposed to. She expected a simple attack, but now there was another group of bandits fighting the first ones. Did the second concubine hire even more people to make sure Chu Xiu was eliminated? The thought scared her. Yuer gripped the curtain tighter, trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong. A massive man with a huge blade stepped forward. This was Manhwa. The leader of the other bandits recognized him and shouted his name in shock. The rival demanded to know what Manhwa wanted, claiming this area belonged to him. Manhwa grinned and accused the rival of stealing his business many times. He said he was going to finish them off. With a roar, Manhwa swung his enormous blade, creating a wave of pinkish-red energy that sliced through the air. The rival leader tried to block the attack, but Manhwa's strike was too powerful. Panicking, the rival leader shouted to his men that they needed to run. But Manhwa said it was too late. In a blur of motion, Manhwa's blade cut through the rival's defense. The rival bandit fell, defeated in a single attack. Manhwa stood victorious, raising his weapon and roaring for his men to finish off the remaining enemies. From a distance, Chu Xiu watched carefully. He noticed that Manhwa's fighting style was different from the other bandit leader. He figured out that Manhwa was actually a trained martial artist, not just some random criminal. With the danger gone, the mood shifted from fighting to talking. Chu Xiu spoke to the winning bandit chief, thanking him for the help. Manhwa grinned and asked if the kid wasn't afraid of being betrayed. Right then, Chu Xiu's servant, Gao Bei, rushed onto the scene, out of breath but relieved. He said he was glad they made it in time. Gao Bei introduced their savior as Chief Ma of Shangmong Mountain, the very man Chu Xiu had told his servant to find. Chu Xiu kept a confident smile. He complimented Chief Ma, calling him a smart man. He explained that ending him would get Manhwa a reward of a few thousand pieces of silver at most. However, he presented another option. If Manhwa didn't harm him, he could get the batch of refined metal promised in the letter. Chu Xiu pointed out that this refined metal would replace all the junk copper and rotten iron that Manhwa's men were currently using as weapons. Manhwa paused, thinking deeply. The logic made sense, and the bandit chief weighed the quick payment against the long-term advantage of better weapons for his gang. His expression changed from aggressive to interested. Chu Xiu pulled out a folded document from his sleeve and presented it to Manhwa, saying it was his warrant. He told the bandit chief to use it to get a batch of metal at a low price. He urged Manhwa to be quick, noting that he was still the steward and his authority still held weight. Manhwa took the warrant, his grin getting wider as he looked at the paper. He laughed, commenting that big families have so much dirty business. He looked at Chu Xiu with new respect, praising the kid for being bold. Manhwa leaned in and told Chu Xiu to come find him if there are good deals like this in the future. He introduced himself formally, saying he was very efficient at his work. He offered a discount for friends, letting out a loud, distinctive laugh that echoed through the forest. As Manhwa and his men left, Chu Xiu watched them go. He thought about the name Chilean, identifying the bandit as someone with a martial arts background. Meanwhile, hidden in the carriage, Yuer listened in complete confusion. She bit her nail nervously. She asked herself why it was like this. Wasn't Chu Xiu supposed to be worthless? How did he easily defeat the first bandit leader? And more confusingly, why did that second group of people actually help Chu Xiu instead of attacking him? The reality was completely different from her expectations. Chu Xiu approached the carriage. Yuer, hearing his approach, immediately started fake crying loudly, putting on a performance of a terrified maidservant. As Chu Xiu pulled back the curtain, she looked up with tear-filled eyes, trembling. She asked her young master if those bandits were all defeated. Chu Xiu smiled gently and answered that of course, they were all defeated. However, his internal thoughts were harsh. He knew this traitor was still pretending. The act dropped in a split second. Chu Xiu reached out and grabbed Yuer by the jaw, his grip like iron. He asked her directly if she was disappointed that he didn't perish. Yuer was caught off guard, panic showing in her eyes as she stammered a denial. She claimed the young master was joking. Chu Xiu's patience disappeared. He demanded to know if she really thought he was an idiot. His voice dropped to a threatening whisper as he ordered her to speak. He wanted to know exactly how much silver his second mother spent to hire these bandits. He issued an ultimatum: speak or face the consequences. Broken by fear and lack of air, she gave in. She gasped out that she would speak, promising to say everything. She revealed the truth. Second concubine spent 10,000 pieces of silver to arrange his elimination. Chu Xiu released the pressure slightly, letting Yue cough and gasp for air. He thought over the sum. 10,000 pieces of silver. He remarked sarcastically on what a generous amount that was, wondering if his second mother hated him that much. Yue, desperate to save her life, spilled every detail. She explained that second concubine said the young master stubbornly stands on the eldest young master's side, and that sooner or later, he would ruin things. She added that the second concubine recently won over the fourth young master and wanted to get rid of future trouble once and for all. To understand the situation, we need to know about the Chu family structure. The master of the Chu family, Chu Zongguang, has 3 wives and 4 sons. The first wife is the mother of the eldest son, Chu Kai. The second concubine is powerful. The third wife is the mother of the third son, Chu Shang, and the fourth son, Chu Shang. Chu Xiu is the son of a deceased concubine, marking him as an illegitimate son with little support. Chu Xiu's position in the family was difficult. As an illegitimate son, the chances of him inheriting the family head position were very small. In the past, he thought Chu Kai had the best chance of winning, so he took sides with him early on. But after taking sides, the first wife and Chu Kai didn't take him seriously. They didn't even help him when he was framed by the third brother. The old Chu Xiu had low status and no real power, so he gave up the thought of fighting for the family head position early on. But now, things are different. The current Chu Xiu is determined. He declares internally that in this life, since he has become Chu Xiu and knows the plot well, he must fight for the position of the Chu family heir. With the Chu family's resources, at least his training can be faster. Refocusing on the trembling maid, Chu Xiu asked a crucial question. Does she have any evidence of his second mother working with the bandits? Yue shook her head frantically. She explained that second concubine sent a trusted person directly to find the bandits. The bandits took the money and did the job without asking much, ensuring no evidence was left behind. Having confessed everything, Yue grabbed the hem of Chu Xiu's robe, looking up at him with pleading eyes. She begged the young master to spare her life, reminding him that she had said everything. Chu Xiu looked down at her calmly. He reassured her gently, telling her not to worry, stating that he doesn't harm women. Yue closed her eyes, letting out a massive sigh of relief, saying he scared her to death. The moment her guard was down, a sharp crack echoed through the carriage. Chu Xiu's hand moved with blinding speed, ending her life instantly. He whispered that he lied. He mocked her, asking if she actually believed that, wondering how she could try to be a spy with such gullibility. He pushed her body aside. 7 days later, Wei Commandery, Tongzhou Prefecture, Chu family. The view shows a grand city nestled against the mountains. The Chu mansion stands imposing and magnificent, showing the family's power. A carriage arrives at the main gate, and Chu Xiu steps out, narrowing his eyes as he spots a formidable figure waiting for him. Standing at the entrance of the Chu mansion is a beautiful but dangerous woman. This is the second concubine. She is the only daughter of Ding Kaishan, the master of the Kaishan Martial Arts Hall in Tongzhou Prefecture. She is described as ruthless and cruel. More than 20 years ago, Chu Zongguang put down roots here specifically because he married her, highlighting her political importance. Chu Xiu approaches her with a bright, mocking smile, bowing slightly. He greets her as second mother, commenting that he hasn't seen her for a year and complimenting her on looking younger. The second concubine's inner thoughts showed her shock. She wondered how Chu Xiu came back alive. She questioned if that stupid girl Yue failed to take Chu Xiu down the small path as planned. Keeping her composure, she asked sharply where his maid, Yue, is. Chu Xiu pretended to sigh with regret. He lied smoothly, claiming that Yue's body was too weak and that he accidentally wore her out, casually suggesting that she should give him another one. She processed the lie. Yue is gone? Does he know about her arranging bandits to eliminate him or not? She also noted a disturbing change in his behavior. She thought to herself that this Chu Xiu seems like a different person. A year ago, he wouldn't dare speak like this. She realized that the worthless person she tried to get rid of has returned as a threat. Recovering from her surprise, the second concubine called out to Chu Xiu, telling him that since he is back, he should go in, as the master and the others are all waiting for him. Chu Xiu proceeded into the main hall of the mansion. He kneeled, offering formal greetings to his father, uncles, first mother, second mother, and third mother. At the head of the room, seated on a raised chair, sits the patriarch, Chu Zongguang. He looked down at his son and simply asked if Chu Xiu is back. The family head, Chu Zongguang, has an impressive background. He started from nothing and used over 20 years to make the Chu family one of the 3 major families in Tongzhou Prefecture, surpassing even the Li family, which has been there for over 100 years. Chu Zongguang commanded his son to sit. His power is immense. Chu Zongguang's strength is at the Xiantian level. He has crossed the body tempering and blood condensation stages. The energy and essence in his body have blended into one. This deep training explains why, although he is past 50, he looks even younger than a 40-year-old. Chu Xiu took his seat, observing his father. He reflected internally that his father doesn't care much about family affairs or his 4 sons. Instead, he is focused on isolated training. Chu Xiu noted that it's unfortunate his father's martial artist level hasn't advanced in over 20 years. Chu Zongguang addressed the assembly. He stated that the Chu family has been in Tongzhou Prefecture for over 20 years and can now be considered thoroughly rooted. He observed that the children have also grown up. He declared that it is time to decide the position of the family heir. The announcement shocked the room. The first wife immediately spoke up. She argued that Chu Kai is the legitimate eldest son of the Chu family, and his strength is the greatest. She stated that naturally he should be the heir. The second concubine disagreed smoothly. She pointed out that they aren't royalty where the eldest son must inherit. Naturally, the master makes the decision on such matters. She turned to the third wife, asking if she doesn't agree. The third wife appeared meek and smiled gently. She claimed that she is just a woman and doesn't understand anything, concluding that whatever the master says, goes. Chu Zongguang raised a hand to silence the arguing. He declared that he has had enough and has his own plans for this matter. He listed his sons, Chu Kai, Chu Xiu, Chu Shang, and Chu Shang, noting that they all hold parts of the family business. He laid down the challenge that will define the future of the family. He announced that in 1 year's time, whoever makes the greatest progress, the heir position will be theirs. He looked around the room, challenging anyone to disagree, and asked if they all agree. The terms are set. A ruthless competition for succession has officially begun, and Chu Xiu, the illegitimate son who was once considered worthless, is now a player in the game he knows all too well.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like. It really helps me out.